Welcome to episode 60 of Timm Talk, the podcast about the DC animated universe co-created by Bruce Timm. I'm Chris Lord.
I'm Cameron Dexter.
And, dude, it's episode 60.
Hey!
That's pretty good.
That's a good number. It's a round number. Yeah. Sex is 6.
Is it sectogenarians? What was it when you're in your 60s?
I don't know. That's a weird word.
Sept is in your 70s.
70s, yeah.
Yeah, so what's...
Sextenarians, I guess, with that. I don't know. That's not something that I ever learned.
We're a thing.
We're something that involves 60. You seem very tired. You have no energy right now.
I know. I need to wake up a little bit. I had an unanticipated full day of work. Yeah, so
It must be difficult coming from work to do a podcast, isn't it?
Yeah, it's real tough, Cameron.
I can't imagine.
You can't imagine what that's like.
My youthfulness can't imagine what it's like to come from a full day of work into a podcast.
I could try defend myself and be like, well, I came from an office, you came from working from home, but the reality is the work that I was doing is not very hard, and the work you're doing is really time intensive.
Yeah, right now it is.
Yeah.
But that's not what we're here to talk about.
We're not here to talk about
superhero stuff.
We are.
Actually, how was your Halloween, Chris?
You know,
we just passed Halloween.
That's true. We forgot to mention Halloween last time, even though
or
the
post
episode
any photos, because that's what we're known for.
Well, that's supposed to be your job.
So I posted one photo.
I know. I need your help, Cameron.
In the 60 weeks we've been doing this podcast,
I'm now multiple days behind on all of our social media because I get to it so late. Well, it doesn't help because we post on Tuesdays and then I always have work on Tuesdays, and so I just don't get around to it. But my Halloween was good. I dressed up as Eggsy from Kingsman.
Amazing, with the blazer,
with the orange tuxedo jacket and a real bow tie. I'm going to be honest, I looked dapper as fuck.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm sure you did, because I also saw the photos.
That's true, you've seen it, yeah. And you had quite the Halloween costume as well.
Yes. Keeping on par with our nerdy podcast, I was Poe Dameron from Star Wars.
No, you were Poe Dameron.
No, I was Cam Dameron.
Why didn't I think of that sooner? That's fucking great.
I feel like one of my relatives called me that at some point.
Cam Dameron.
And it just fit.
I mean, I could even just gone for Poe Cameron, and I didn't even do that.
Could have,
but Cam
so much easier.
Cam Dameron's way better.
Yeah, yeah, and it was exciting. The helmet is, as the Stormtrooper helmet is, incredibly uncomfortable.
I imagine you.
It's padded this time, but it's like earmuffs, so I can't hear a single thing if it's on. So it's just a nice accessory to carry around with me.
Just a nice echo chamber.
Yeah.
Wait, opposite. Isolation chamber.
Yeah, that's the one.
Whatever, that thing. But no, and yeah, happy Halloween a week late to all our friends out there. We hope you guys had a fun, happy, nerdy Halloween.
Yes.
Speaking of Halloween,
what news is happening?
Halloween-ish things. I always associate Scooby-Doo with Halloween.
I'm not fucking getting into Scooby-Doo with you, Chris.
All I'm doing, hang on, calm down.
Are you trying to make it like a Warner Brothers comparison?
No, there is a movie coming out. I figured this would be right in your wheelhouse. Scooby-Doo meets Batman Brave and the Bold.
Oh, it's amazing. I didn't hear about this.
You didn't know about this?
No.
The trailer just dropped this last week, and that's what my notes are, is talking about that.
Oh my gosh, no, I haven't seen it.
Yeah. See? It was a happy Scooby-Doo.
It was
thing,
a happy
Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo thing.
I thought you were going to try and do like a Warner Brothers wiggle. It was Universal. It wasn't even Warner Brothers. I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Oh, it was?
Yeah. Yeah, Warner Brothers owns the rights to Scooby-Doo.
Oh, okay. Well, he's at Universal Studios.
Well, but Universal has licenses with other properties. I mean, like, Harry Potter's there. That's Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
And they had Spider-Man and Marvel for a long time. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, go watch the trailer.
Sometimes SpongeBob shows up at the parks, which is weird.
Yeah, because he's Paramount.
Yes, because Paramount is Viacom.
Yes, exactly. Woo! Yeah, it looks really good. Go watch it. At some point, I need to go watch the actual damn show itself.
Yeah, anything involving Brave and the Bold
and Scooby-Doo.
Incredibly
this
exciting.
is like perfect in your Venn diagram of wheelhouses.
Yeah, it'll just be like those 4 episodes in the 70s.
Yeah.
Of the new Scooby-Doo movies.
We should do those at some point.
We should. They're great. Yeah. I think it's Adam West that does the voices. Could be wrong, though.
I'm not sure about that.
Maybe he was too famous for that at the time.
He was too big for their britches. Is that how that phrase?
Yeah, too big for your britches. That's the old people word.
Let's say how it works. Let's say that's how it works.
I have some news for you.
You do. I'm glad you have news. I'm basically out.
Well, we're a week past this being relevant news, but
we always are.
For the few people who haven't heard yet, Zachary Levi, who's one of my favorite people in the world, is now cast as Shazam in the upcoming DC film.
Yeah.
I am torn about this decision.
Okay.
Because so it's one of those things where, like, obviously he's not nearly bulky enough to be Shazam.
Yeah.
And the problem is, no matter how much he bulks up, standing next to The Rock, he's still going to look not big because The Rock is playing Black Adam.
Yeah.
But
Not in that movie, though.
right. And at some point they have to meet.
Theoretically.
But the idea of Zachary Levi getting the Captain America Chris Evans body is incredibly exciting.
Let me just stop thinking about this for a little bit.
I'm surprised you haven't been thinking about this, because that's why work has been taking so long for me this week.
I've been busy.
Yeah. I'm very excited about this, Chris.
I know. I can tell.
Zachary Levi is one of my favorite people. Chuck was very influential on my high school career. Did you ever watch Chuck?
I never watched Chuck, actually.
Love Chuck.
That pause there was me thinking about the fact that Chuck came out well after I graduated from high school.
The finale was my freshman year, because I remember sitting in the dorm.
High school?
College.
Oh, okay. I was like, what?
I remember sitting in the dorm, and the finale is a very emotional episode.
Okay.
And it's Sarah and Chuck on the beach, and they're recreating the scene from the very first episode. And she like puts her head on his shoulder. She's like, "Tell me our story." And then like it it's the zoom out and then fades with music, and I lost it. I was bawling in my room. I couldn't handle all of that emotion.
Aww.
But I had a question for you involving Zach Levi, because Zach Levi, I thought, would be the first crossover MCU DCU actor, but he is not, Chris. Do you know who the first? Do you remember Zachary Levi played?
Yeah, he played one of the Warriors 3, Fandral, I think, in the second.
Yes, in the first one.
Second one.
Second one.
Second one.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh shit, snacks.
If you guessed it, I'd be very surprised, because it is a very obscure character, and one that we have both hated on multiple times.
Okay, let me see if I can figure this out. Oh, I do know.
Do you?
Yes. Isn't it KG Beast from Batman vs. Superman? Didn't that actor also play someone in Captain America Winter Soldier?
Close. It was Killer Croc from Suicide Squad.
Oh.
Was the monster elf from Thor Dark World.
Oh, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
I think
he was the first to do both.
I think the other guy might be as well, though.
Oh, then Zachary Levi might be the third one.
Yeah. I'm pretty... You talk. I'm going to confirm this.
So
I missed that one, but I think I might have gotten one.
Some other notable actors that I have listed that have been in multiple Marvel DC franchises. Who is it? The one that I completely forgot about, because it's kind of a forgettable one. The actress's name is Tao Okamoto, who played Mariko, who was the damsel in distress from the Wolverine, was also Mercy in Batman vs. Superman.
That's true.
Forgot about that one.
Yeah. But are we talking just? I mean, if you go beyond just the MCU,
there's multiple. I listed our two favorite ones being. Blah 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 blah. Batman, Michael Keaton.
Oh right, of
being
course.
Batman and Vulture.
Keaton.
His third Bird movie. I'm excited to see where he goes from here.
So many Bird movies.
Tommy Lee Jones being the general from Captain America and Two-Face.
Yes,
and so on and so forth,
and so many more. All right, I'm going to see if I can track this information down. I believe you had some other news though. Right?
I have some very exciting news that is very personal to me. For the people who haven't heard, because this was shared with me 6 times in an hour yesterday, because it was very exciting. They announced the full cast of Lion King, the 2019 live quote unquote adaptation. Live meaning it's just going to be in the same like I call it like super CGI style of Jungle Book. So the cast we already knew was Donald Glover was going to be Simba, but they've now announced Beyonce, Queen Bee is going to play Nala because you need a queen to play a queen.
Yep.
James Earl Jones is going to be Mufasa. John Oliver is Zazu. Seth Rogen is Pumbaa. Billy
Eichner.
Eichner, thank you. Known from Billy and the Street is going to be Timon. And then Eric Andre, who I hope isn't a CGI character and it's just like actually Eric Andre walking around, just doing whatever he wants to do. And Keegan Michael Key are playing 2 of the 3 hyenas.
Oh my God.
So fucking excited for that.
No, it looks great. It's still weird to think that that's going to be live action because it's not. It's
right.
not. It's photorealistic, computer generated.
Super CG.
Yeah. But I mean, I like the Jungle Book quite a bit.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right.
I wasn't
I'm bored.
I wasn't like a big fan of the talking side, like the lip sync of an animal and a human still doesn't fit perfectly.
Yeah, and that's like all we're gonna get now.
Yeah, but I mean, it'll have been 3 years between Jungle Book coming out. Were you right?
I was right. Yeah, Kalen Mulvey was KG Beast in Batman vs Superman, and also in Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Okay,
so actually, my guy was the first one.
No,
Winter Soldier
was after Thor: Dark World.
Yes, but
Batman
vs Superman came out before Suicide Squad.
Did Suicide Squad did come out after?
So he was the first one to actually.
Damn it! This is why I don't look up news. I quit. Do this on your own. Talk about Lion King by yourself.
But I have so little to talk about with Lion King.
Good. Suffer on this podcast in silence.
Oh, man. Yes. All right. I'm feeling really good about myself. Energy's up now. Thank you for that. All right. Now I'm back in. I'm excited.
I'm going to talk monotone for the rest of this podcast.
Excited. Okay.
A lot of very exciting news to talk about. Brave new Metropolis.
Yeah. I mean, do
no, it doesn't
do you
matter
have other
anymore.
news to talk about? Should we just get into it?
No, it's fine.
Okay. All right. So we are now talking about Brave New Metropolis.
It's very exciting stuff.
How did you feel about this being our introduction to the multiverse?
Not great.
No. Okay. Interesting. Why not?
So, I feel like this was a good first attempt because I know they correct it in Justice League. They do basically the same story, just much better.
Yeah.
But even in the comics, outside of Crisis Infinite Earths, which came out about 10 years before this, sorry. They didn't really know how to handle the multiverse well.
It's a really tough thing to do because it's inherently complicated, so you have to simplify it, and then
yeah. Because what this episode, did you ever read Infinite Crisis?
No, I never.
Good. Thank God. Finally, I've read a comic that you haven't read.
I've never read any of the crises. So
okay,
I basically avoid big crossover events because it's just too much fucking homework.
Really, I was the opposite growing up. Those were the ones that I focused on because it let me learn about as many characters as I could.
That's fair.
Because Final Crisis was the first series that I ever read.
Okay.
And it was basically me and my friend Dylan on the weekends would like turn a page, and every time we didn't know a character on the page, we would stop reading and then like read their entire Wikipedia page and then go back and read the next page.
That would take a long time.
It took us like I don't even think we finished it. I think we made it 3 issues in, and that took us over a month.
Well, and especially if I mean, how broad or even deep was your DC knowledge going into that?
We had nothing.
Okay, so you were like, okay, page 1, okay.
I think I had
Superman.
watched Static.
Okay.
Because this was post Static Shock.
Yeah.
I'd probably watched most of Justice League or JLU. I'd watched most of JLU because I recognized some crossover characters.
Okay.
And then Teen Titans was going on. So that was it.
So a lot of the characters then
at the time, I didn't know who Slade was. Because I remember when they did, like, at the end of the first season of Teen Titans, they crack his mask.
Yeah.
And he has, like, spiky hair underneath. And I thought it was either Bruce or a future Robin. Because I had no idea who Deathstroke was.
I didn't know Slade/Deathstroke going into Teen Titans either.
Okay.
Because and subsequently, I've always looked back and I was like, it's weird they call him Slade.
Yeah.
Like, they never say Deathstroke at any point through, which is really interesting.
Probably because they don't want a Cartoon Network character named Death something.
I suppose that's true. Okay, so I can. So what? So you didn't? Do you not like the episode? You didn't like the way they just handled the idea of a multiverse sort of thing? Like what wasn't working for you?
I mean, it was a fine episode.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was probably better than a lot that we've watched recently.
I
It's
would
just
agree.
I'm just so connected to those other episodes and the comic that. I mean, it didn't come out yet, but there's a Infinite Crisis has a very, very similar storyline to this.
Okay. Well, I mean, because this is a pretty common storyline. We see this a lot. This idea that like Superman, something bad happens to him, he snaps and turns evil. I mean, that's
That's Injustice.
That's Injustice. Yeah, and, Injustice is great. And again, I think Injustice does it better than this.
Yeah. I think it's just because like I have such high expectations for those stories now.
Yeah,
Because they are done so well at this point.
I feel like there's. I mean, yeah, I guess the Justice Lords is all based off a similar.
Yeah, there's
premise.
Justice Lords. There's the Crisis on Two Earths movie. Flashpoint is basically the same thing.
Same thing, yeah. So for those who don't know, in this episode, Lois accidentally gets drawn into an alternative universe where she died, and Superman, in his grief, decided he had to take control of the city to protect people and ended up teaming up with Lex.
Yeah,
And
he
now
basically went down the Batman path a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, teamed up with Lex and let Lex handle like the small petty crime. But in doing that, Lex was just kind of rounding up citizens and basically making Metropolis Gotham.
Yeah, and now, it did look a lot more like Gotham. Like the whole palette was darker. It wasn't crisp and clean and bright. I mean, the helicopters that they use don't look like Gotham helicopters, but the fact that they were there feels more Gotham-esque.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like we don't actually see a lot of helicopters in Metropolis, weirdly enough.
No, they'll just get in the way of Superman.
That's actually true. Yeah, you got to plan that ahead.
No, there was one in the first Parasite episode.
Yeah, they have it every once in a while, but like, to me, that's a fixture of Gotham. Is all these like
Yeah, there's always
things
helicopters.
flying around.
Or blimps.
What I find so interesting too is so in this other world, like everything's like dirty and dingy, which to me that almost doesn't quite make sense. Like I always think of Superman when he takes control, he makes like a utopia, or he attempts to. And that's kind of part of Red Sun as well, which we've well established you have not read.
You know what? You haven't read Infinite Crisis. I have one to hold over you.
You got one.
You've got one.
I keep forgetting. Actually, hang on. I'm going to go grab it off the shelf right now and send it. Because I keep forgetting to do this.
But no, you're right. I feel like with Lex and Superman in charge of Metropolis, I'd imagine more of like a Wall-E. I mean, Wall-E's not a great example. More of like a robot takeover, where Lex would, be, kind of like he would make like an army of robots to keep the city clean and collect and like in order. Just come and talk on our podcast, Chris. You can do this during when we take our break.
I didn't have it in there somewhere.
Oh.
It was filed under M for Millard, not S for Superman.
Oh my gosh, how dare you?
It threw me off.
But no, yeah, I feel like with Lex in charge of like the ground floor, he would have these robots that kind of be running the city.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Because especially with like LexCorp is everywhere.
Yeah,
like LexCorp now. I mean, LexCorp already runs the city in Earth One, but like even like in this one, it's like that's the only company that still exists.
Yeah, they've basically taken over. Sorry, where were you saying? I wasn't listening to you when I was.
I knew you weren't. That's why I was trying to get you to come back and talk on our podcast. I was saying, yes, it doesn't feel right that it was dirty.
Oh, okay.
Because, like, it is still Metropolis. It is still, like the futuristic city run by LexCorp.
So I mean, we're talking about how this happens a lot, where Superman, he experiences a tragedy and goes dark. Does that feel a little contrived? Does that feel organic to his character? Like, do you think he's that emotionally fragile that he would go that far when something bad happens?
That's a tough question.
I know, that's why I asked it.
In some instances, yes.
Like in my mind, in Injustice, it makes sense because it's literally
because they're already like together. Lois knows
Lois and Clark are together. She's pregnant.
Yes.
The Joker detonates a nuclear bomb, killing everyone in Metropolis. But the blast doesn't actually kill Lois. Superman gets infected. I think it's basically with a derivation of the Scarecrow's serum. So he sees Lois as Doomsday. So
that's right.
Grabs her and flies her up into the atmosphere until she basically suffocates because he thinks it's Doomsday, and he comes back down and he realizes that. So he basically is directly responsible for her death.
Yes. In that one, yes. I feel like that would make him crack.
Yeah, that one makes sense to me. This seems a little bit far. I mean, I get what they're doing here. It's still an interesting idea to play in. I don't know if they were deliberately setting up the multiverse now, or if they just thought this would be a clever idea to throw in here.
I don't think this sets up. I think this is their first attempt at a storyline like this, so they knew how to handle it later.
Okay, yeah.
Because the Justice Lord's version is I think yes, in Justice it makes sense for Superman to crack.
Yeah.
Justice Lords, yes, because Barry or Flash was Wally was the kind of he was the most pure on the team.
Yeah.
And there was that, and then the Lex being president thing. Everything had turned against Superman at that point.
Yeah.
Where he's fuck it, I've been trying to do this for years. Obviously, nothing's happening at this stage, so I need to try something else.
Yeah. What's kind of cool about this is one of the few episodes where they do kind of get a do-over. I mean, we talked a lot about how would you make this better. That's basically moot in this case because they do it better later on when we get the Justice Lords, which I still think is probably one of the best Justice League episodes.
Oh, absolutely.
Out there. And the fact that they bring it back again in JLU is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if they ever, off the top of my head, I don't know if they ever bring up this particular episode again when referencing alternate dimensions or anything like that.
I don't think so.
And I think
there might have been a throwaway line from Superman.
Yeah, because
he might have brought up that it's an alternate dimension.
Yeah, because there's a plot point in JLU that ties back into a Darkseid episode.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually the series finale of Superman ties back into that. So in a lot of ways, this whole series feels like it's all just set up for better stuff. We're getting Batman and Superman together with all these characters. We're getting the multiverse. We're getting Supergirl. We're getting Darkseid, all this other shit. So, yeah, it's cool that we don't have to guess how you could do it better because it'll happen eventually. Now, another question for you, though. Did this episode finally do Lois justice for you?
More justice, yes.
Okay.
Both of these episodes were very Lois-focused, which was kind of nice.
Yeah.
And this one, yes, because she was the main character of this episode.
She was, yeah.
And that was kind of nice to see, her actually doing, when she was running from the cops, she, knew how to fight back a little bit. She knew how to hide from the helicopter. She didn't she knew nothing
from the cops. She knows how to scale the
she
side of a perfectly smooth Marvel building.
Yes, because that's the kind of character she is.
Yeah.
She knows to shoot for the tires of the cars. She shoots for the light at the helicopter. She has a basic understanding of how to escape.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
And I felt that this was the first episode where I saw bits of Andrea in the performance. Because it's the same voice actress as Andrea Beaumont from Mask of the Phantasm.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, you did know that. You just forgot it.
I forgot it.
I mentioned it before.
You've mentioned it a couple times, I think.
Probably a few times, yeah. This is the first time that I felt that she actually got to do something other than just be quippy, which she's great at doing. Is it Dana Delaney?
That sounds right.
Man,
but no, I fully,
I should know.
That makes a lot of sense. Where, she wasn't just a one-line character in this episode.
Yeah,
she actually had something to do.
Yeah,
that wasn't just wait for Superman to save her.
Which he
albeit
still
at
does.
the end, Superman does still save her.
Yeah, I mean, she does flawlessly climb to the top of the 10-story tall Lex Luthor statue, and then
I want to know how many of those there are because she sees one when she walks out of the lab.
Yeah,
that's just an eye level bust of their heads.
Do you think that to save on cost, Superman just does that himself?
I don't think because Lex makes a couple notes. So Superman isn't pure evil or fully working with Lex. He does say that there's a lot of resistance still,
right?
And that's why they want to get rid of Lois because he still wants to be in control.
Yeah, but I meant more the fact that why would you dedicate so much manpower to erecting a massive statue when you can have one guy literally just zip around and laser it and it's all perfect?
That's true, but I feel like that's why Lex has all of those people in captivity,
so they can build him
massive statues. That's the only reason.
Yeah. And don't make any marks on his perfectly bald head, or he'll just
right
kill you.
Yeah,
I I did like that this is Lex at his kind of most evil. Like, this is the first episode
At this
where
point, yes, this is the most evil we've seen him.
Well, because he's like a full-on villain. Like, he's going to kill Lois. He's behind everything. And then at the end, he dies. Like, he crashes into his own face and blows up.
Yeah.
And you can get away with that because alternative universe. But, like, this is him going full-on supervillain.
Yeah, that was really nice to see. Because, yeah, at this point, Lex has just been, like, a very behind-the-scenes villain. Like, we know he's had his hands in episodes.
Yeah.
But he's never been he's never been caught doing anything. But he's also like just the one setting everything up for Superman to have to figure out.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see him be like the villain up front.
Yeah. Yeah. I did like this episode a lot, though.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe it's because we have had a lot of duds, and at least this did something different.
Yeah, it had Lois be a character.
Lois be an actual character. Well, and also, I feel like a lot of the episodes we've been getting of late just feel like weird rehashes of really bad Superman stories from like the 60s.
Yeah.
And like that's not necessarily what they are, but that's how they feel. Even the next episode feels like that, but it's fun and playful in a way that I think a lot of them haven't been.
Reading the description of that episode, I almost didn't watch it.
Oh my God, really?
Because the sentence is a one sentence description that Superman has to defeat a giant monkey.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
it's
not. I'd make a lot of sacrifices for this podcast.
It's not the best premise.
It's not, but it was a much better interpretation of that story than I expected.
Yeah. Do you have more to say on this, or should we just move our way on to the monkey episode?
Did I have more to say?
I mostly just wrote questions down. So
the S on his chest is supposed to be the
SS.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, it pulls a lot of really low-hanging dystopian future apples from the tree.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's all big concrete structures. It's all like black and reds, and all the cops are in very Stormtrooper-esque uniforms, not Star Wars Stormtroopers, like World War II Stormtroopers.
Nazi Stormtroopers.
Yeah. I mean, it's all there. Like, I mean, if you're going to go,
Yeah, if you're going to do it, do it.
Do it. Yeah.
No, that's pretty much all I have. I wrote down the brief description of Infinite Crisis in case you wanted to know what that was about.
Why don't you go ahead and retell us? 'Cause I honestly don't know. I can't really distinguish the crises that well. Okay, I think it was... No. Was Infinite Crisis one with Dr. Light?
No, that's Identity Crisis.
Identity Crisis.
Yes. So it went...
Well, it's okay, because there's Crisis on Infinite Earths.
That was the first one.
And then Identity Crisis?
I think it's Infinite Identity Final.
What happened in Infinite Crisis?
Infinite Crisis, because it takes place directly after Infinite Earths. And I forgot
when did the comic come out?
I want to say early 2000s.
Okay, that sounds good.
I want to say after Kingdom Come. That was 2001.
No, whoa, Kingdom Come was
96.
Yeah, 96, 97, I want to say.
Okay, then I want to say this was 2001-ish.
Okay.
2001 too. Just trying to figure out the character setup was hard enough for me to wrap my head around again.
Okay.
So it's Superman from Earth 2.
Okay.
Teaming up with Alexander Luthor from Earth 2, and Superboy Prime from Earth 3 coming to Earth 1 because Earth 2 Lois was sick, and he thought bringing her to Earth 1 would make her feel better for some reason. And in the process, he kidnapped Earth 1 Lois because he couldn't be without Lois.
Oh, my God.
But while that's happening, Alexander Luthor, who you find out is surprisingly evil, who would have guessed, has like a machine where he's basically doing like a God mode character creation of superhero worlds, where he's taking like the multiverse Earths and being like, okay, all of these characters are going to go to this Earth. All of these characters are going to go to this Earth. I want these characters. He's trying to make like the perfect world.
Okay.
Where it's just the heroes and villains that he wants in one world.
Doesn't Superboy Prime like punch a universe or something like that?
Yeah.
Christ.
So Superboy Prime kills Earth 1 Superboy in the process. And And while all that's happening, they capture Alexander Luthor. Superboy Prime basically says, I just want to push the giant reset button by going to Oa and blowing it up. And I guess that will just reset the universe.
Oh, God.
And so the Green Lantern set up, I think they said a 600-mile long concrete wall that Superboy Prime just punches through like it's nothing. And then Earth 2, his name is Kal-El, just the letter L, compared to Kal-El.
Yeah.
Earth 2 Superman and Earth 1 Superman fly him through the remains of Krypton, so all three will lose their power. They land on Mogo, the living planet, and beat him up there, and then the Green Lanterns capture him and lock him up in a red planet eater, or a red sun eater.
Mm-hmm.
So he's stuck in a red sun, basically. But my favorite thing about the story is the ending of Alexander Luthor, because he escapes the prison cell.
Okay.
And he makes it onto the streets where he's kind of pulled into an alleyway by Earth 1 Lex Luthor and the Joker. And the Joker sprays him with like acidic Joker gas and then electrifies him, so it messed up his face. And then he's shocked, and he falls to the ground and he shoots him. And Lex says he should have invited him to the party, and they walk off.
That's so very Lex Luthor.
That's such a great ending to such a weird story.
See, this is why I avoid a lot of these like crossover crises sort of things. They just get crazy convoluted, and the stakes end up getting so absurdly high. I'm just like, nah.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, because I know a bit about Identity Crisis, which is when
that one's much worse.
They discover that Batman had his memory wiped amongst other people, and he like is not cool with that. I don't know what happens after that.
Dr. Light raped a bunch of.
Wasn't Elongated Man's wife?
She was part of it. She died.
This is fucking dark.
They kill Elongated Man's wife, and the Atom's wife is thought to be dead.
Of course.
And then they find out that she was actually behind it, and then she wasn't.
See, again, this is why I avoid these things. I don't even want to go near them.
The crossover that I do always back up is Blackest Night. I think that is my favorite comic series.
Okay, yeah, I've never touched it.
Really? That's when I first learned about all of the different lanterns, which is why I love it so much.
Yeah. I may at some point. As I say that, I know I probably won't.
Probably not.
No.
It's a long one.
It's long. There's just not enough time. Mm-hmm. I got to go reread Superman Red Sun after you've read it so we can talk about it.
I mean, I'll give it back in like a year and a half
so
and probably have read the first page.
I know, exactly. See, the difference is I bought you Frontier, so you have no excuse. You have an excuse to read it because you don't have to give it back to me. This one I'm just like nag at you all the time.
That's very true.
Who's
our sponsor this week?
It's Cite This.
Okay. We've
I'm trying to
they've
remember
been our sponsor before.
I know. I think.
Do they give very complicated dictionary words, and then the other person has to like
if I did my homework
has to guess the definition of said word, and then when they guess wrong, person A has to then give a reference in pop culture media of when that word was used.
I think that's exactly
is it
what they do.
That sounds like a great podcast.
Let's say the exact premise. No, thank you for spinning long enough for me to look it up real quick. Oh, okay, that's right. They basically just take a Wikipedia topic and they just go real deep on it.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it's basically like Clickhole, the podcast. See, I need to remember these things, or maybe actually listen to them, which would be a good thing to do as a fellow podcaster. I'm sorry, Sean and Kyle, I haven't listened to your podcast, but I'm sure it's exemplary, and here's a taste of it.
Hello, I'm Sean Christopher.
And I'm Kyle Cecina.
And we are the co-hosts of Cite This Podcast, the Wikipedia of podcasts.
Each week, we dive into the nethers of the online Wikiverse, exploring the weirdest articles and even weirder lists.
From top-secret government projects to wild fears and phobias to over-the-top Star Wars backstories, we got it all.
With special guests in comedy, comics, and more, you won't want to miss it.
So come on and dive down the rabbit hole with us every Wednesday on SoundCloud and iTunes as part of the Nerdist School Network.
Ooh. Yeah. That's a thing. Okay, so now we're on to
the monkey episode.
Monkey Fun.
And it sure was a lot of monkey fun.
Terrible name.
Yep.
Absolutely terrible name.
Like I said, going into the episode, I had, like, the lowest expectations for this
Yeah.
episode.
No, I
Like
did too.
below Moon of the Wolf.
Yeah.
Below
Oh,
the
whoa.
three. Like
the terrible trio.
below, like I was expecting worse than those episodes. Like the lowest expectations for this.
Do you think we've had a Superman episode that's worse than the terrible trio? I feel like we've had this conversation.
I don't think so.
No, the terrible trio is abysmal.
That's just a bad episode. I think the Superman episodes are just bland. I think
Okay.
there's like a difference between the bads.
Okay, that's fine. I'll give you that. You know, 'cause I also went in with low expectations, and then I started to actually remember this episode. So I actually vaguely recall. I know I saw this when it aired.
Okay.
Which makes sense because I would have been watching all the new Batman Adventure stuff. So at this point, I was watching all the Superman episodes too. Mm-hmm. So actually, I remember this one because I remember the little doll. What was his name?
Bebo?
Bebo?
I think so. That's what I wrote
Well,
down.
Bibbo is Bibbo Bukowski is the guy who works out on the docks. Voiced by Brad
Yeah.
Garrett, who gets like flicked off.
I'm pretty sure it was Bebo.
Okay, Bibbo, yeah, okay, whatever. The little monkey in the not what's like a
It's
hotel.
The
Not concierge, a hotel.
like
A bellhop.
That's the one. Yeah, bellhop
Yeah.
costume. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like similar to the costumes he used to wear, at, like the Tower of Terror, like that whole
Yeah.
thing. He's in that, and yeah, he plays Ring Around the Rosie. Mm-hmm. I remembered him.
Okay.
So I remember the whole episode. But I forgot that, at least initially, that this episode opens up and we're like in
The past.
the past. So what I love is
20 years exactly.
But I love how the timelines work on this, because if this is set in 1997, that would have been 1977.
Mm-hmm.
They were jumping back to, when that is clearly meant to be the 1950s.
Yeah.
But I love the timeless feel of the whole thing, though. Like, because they went for like the space race era, because that's when we were putting monkeys in a spaceship.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Lois has a pet monkey.
yeah. Did you happen to catch who voices young Lois?
No.
Mae Whitman.
I know her.
Yeah, of course
It's
you did.
Katara.
From what?
You intentionally hurt me.
I'm assuming that's Avatar.
It is. It's the main girl from Avatar. It's Katara, and she's also Rose from American Dragon Jake Long, and she was the Duff in the movie The Duff.
That's a great movie.
That was a
actually.
great movie. I was
Yeah.
very surprised at how good that was.
That's really good.
Alongside Stephen Amell's cousin.
Robbie Amell.
That's the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great.
Great looking guy.
Yeah, really great looking guy.
Yeah, I love Mae Whitman.
Yeah, she's intense and stuff. I mean, she's also a voice actor too, and of course, she was in Arrested Development.
Okay.
Did you ever watch Arrested Development?
No.
For fuck's sake!
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was too busy reading Infinite Crisis.
Well, thank God you did. So at least one of us knew about it. But yeah, so she and her sister Lucy have like a pet monkey named Titano, who's staying with them because her dad is a general and is part of the space program. And so, but poor old Titano's got to go get launched off into a ship, and then he ends up basically getting lost in space. And we find him years later stuck inside an asteroid. And he comes back down to Earth and is immediately put in Lois's care because he doesn't respond to anyone but her.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what you would do.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a sweet little moment. But then we quickly discover that he's also growing because of space gases.
Yes. Space bacteria have infected him.
Yeah.
So he continues to grow.
Yeah. Because there's that great moment where they're in Star Labs and like the random bacteria that was inside his asteroid or in his helmet or whatever gets exposed to the atmosphere and like grows, and it's these like giant monster bacteria trying to eat people.
I did have a question about that. Actually, I did have a question relating to the last episode and most of the Superman episodes. I'll ask that one first. When we see Superman use his heat vision, you always see the two eye lines converge at a point. Does that mean that he is forced to go cross-eyed when he uses his heat vision? And it has to be like at the perfect distance where he has to know exactly how much to cross his eyes so it converges at the right point.
He's got such precise muscle control with his cross eye that he can just like
Because in the
slowly-
second in this episode, in the monkey one, you see the two individual ones, so you know
Yeah.
he's not crossing his eyes.
Do you think he can like go opposite directions?
That's what I want to know. Because it was the part where I think it's Lois is being held at gunpoint in the last episode, and he melts the gun out of the guy's hand.
Yeah.
there was another guard that I assume also had a gun.
You could just go,
and I wanted, just like his eyes to go in completely opposite directions and burn both guns at the same time.
Superman with the world's most dangerous lazy eye.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, I think he is that precise of controls that he goes cross-eyed all the time.
He's spent his entire childhood practicing the exact focal distance of how much he needs to cross his eye to hit that point in space.
It's like you know that like that kid's toy game where it's the two metal poles and the ball on the end of it, and you have to slowly like widen it out so the ball gets momentum and rolls. You have to close it back together again so it gets to the end.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I imagine that he did that but with his eyes.
Yeah,
it's just a constant process, like out in, out in.
I want to see how when he misses and they like the person is standing like 15 feet ahead of him and he crosses his eyes just too short, so they like
it actually goes to an X and it goes wide again.
Him. Yeah, they cross like the 12-foot mark. And he's like, "Do you mind just taking a quick step forward?" Or Superman has to move forward really fast to like so no one else notices that he just completely missed.
Just mess it up. You can just imagine how many like crop fires he started in Kansas as he was slowly trying to perfect his
cross-eyedness,
his cross-eyed vision.
But yes, in this episode, he had to fight giant bacteria.
He had to fight giant bacteria before he got to fight the giant monkey.
Yes.
So we talked about the fact that this is set. There's a 20-year age gap, so we now know that Lois is like 28.
Right.
Is that weird for you?
Yes.
It's weird for me.
Yeah. I was trying to age her up in the flashback. That maybe she was just like a very immature, like 12-year-old.
Well, except for the fact that she says that I was 7 in reference to, I think, the monkey, the toy monkey, which means that at oldest she would be like 9 or 10 maybe in the flashback.
I would say I could see 30 getting a Pulitzer.
Yeah, but she's 28, like the star reporter at the Daily Planet, has that massive apartment all to herself.
Yeah. That is now trashed.
Cameron, I'm 28.
You are.
And I'm going to go jump off a
You have a
building.
nice apartment.
I do have a very nice apartment.
It's not like a penthouse apartment.
It's not a penthouse in the middle of a city. No.
Right.
I'm not a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist.
No, but that's also not your field.
No, it's not my field.
You have produced a movie.
Yeah, that's true.
There you go. You're doing all right, kid.
This is pep talk.
Yeah.
No.
Pep talk with Cameron and Chris.
Thank you for making me feel better about myself,
Me
Cameron.
trying to make you feel better. I mean, as the young one in the group, I feel like I have to give you the support to make you feel like I'm not surpassing you in any way.
You still have like 3.5 more years before you reach that point. So.
Before I reach this depression.
Yeah, exactly.
I look forward to it.
Okay, so Lois is 29.
Doing great for herself, yeah.
What?
So doing great for herself.
Doing great. She's doing fantastic. I did have a moment of amusement when those bacteria go crazy into the lab. It reminded me of the movie Evolution.
I never watched it.
You never saw it?
I've seen Dragon Ball Evolution. So like,
Oh, fuck yourself.
Oh, sorry. Last note. I forgot to mention in the last episode. In the last part of the last episode of this episode. That was the first time Lois and Superman kissed.
I think it might be the only time.
Oh, well, good for them. Even though it's not like Earth 1 Superman.
Yeah, because she's basically non-existent in all of Justice League.
Right.
And I don't remember them kissing again in Superman, but I could be mistaken.
Okay. Well then, I'm glad that I brought it up then.
Yeah. But also, you should go watch the movie Evolution. It's really funny.
Okay.
Yeah. It's got David Duchovny.
I know that guy.
And Sean William Scott.
He was in that show Californication, I think.
Oh my god, fuck you. Guys, it's my favorite show, Californication.
When Chris and I first met a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago. 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago now.
I think you had just finished Californication.
No, I finished it a long time ago.
Well, whatever the case was, that was like the show you were hyping to everyone.
It was great. It's a great show.
I get it.
Yeah.
I watched the first season. I understand. But like that was...
But do you really understand? If you really
Probably
understood,
I
you
don't, I
wouldn't be
guess.
criticizing me now for having
guess I
been
don't
a huge
get it.
advocate of it. Mr. I've seen every episode of Entourage.
Yes, twice.
Oh, Jesus.
And the movie. You know, I need to make I make good decisions in my life.
Even more than the Scooby-Doo bait, this might be the episode that has tested our friendship. Okay.
So the giant bacteria from evolution fight Superman. Superman wins.
Yeah, the monkey grows to massive proportions.
Monkey grows to King Kong size. This is basically a prequel to King Kong, right?
Yeah, in essence.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, and he starts like rampaging around the town, and Superman tries to be nice and slow him down, but he's a big monkey. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Right.
But luckily, Lois's dad, good old General Sam Lane, shows up in the nick of time. Also, was it just me, or was that voice actor basically doing a Jimmy Stewart impression?
Yeah, that's what he was doing.
Okay. Yes. I love a good Jimmy Stewart impression. I won't do one, though, on the podcast. You just give me shit for it.
No, I won't.
So...
he comes with Bebo in a bag.
Mm-hmm.
I love... Did they hit every carnival cliche? They didn't go into a Hall of Mirrors. You see the Hall of Mirrors, but they don't go in it.
Well, Superman gets knocked into a Hall of Mirrors.
Yes.
And we see him inside of it, but not also the monkey.
Right. So that cliche was not done. But we did have one of the two gets knocked into the bell game, where the bell
goes
hits the top and then usually falls off and hits him on the head.
Yep.
I feel like it had a boink in it. Like it even had the sound effect.
Like a ding, and it falls off.
No, like when it hit Superman's head. Like I feel like it had in my mind. I hear that cartoon sound effect.
It probably did have it.
I might have just I've at the point of how many cartoons I've seen, I might have just unconsciously added it in because I've seen that exact scene so many times.
What were the other carnival cliches? He gets knocked into the Ferris wheel.
The Ferris wheel falling is usually a pretty big cliche.
Yeah.
There's usually the other pretty big one is usually one person is standing at like the bottom of a roller coaster hill, and everyone in the car is like screaming, and they fall or they jump off at the last second.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big one. It's like the merry-go-round where like the person is trying to catch the one in the merry-go-round, but it's spinning too fast for them to catch. Mm-hmm. It's a pretty big cliche.
I mean, I think even things getting lost in like a whole bunch of carnival prizes, and that happens here. Like they lose the singing monkey.
Yep.
Amongst all the other ones.
Butterfingers Lois.
Yeah.
Can't fucking do anything.
That was the specific moment that I actually remembered. Was like the little monkey in the bellhop like outfit getting lost. Why can't I remember? Bibbo?
Bibbo, yeah. B-E-B-O. Bebo.
Bebo?
Bebop? Bebop from
Bebop and Rocksteady?
Yep. From Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yep, it was that monkey.
What were we talking about?
There were two lines in this that really stood out to me. I haven't done a deep dive into lines in a while.
I think I know one of the ones you can reference. I think I might have flagged it down as my quote that I'm going to put at the top of the episode.
Okay, it'll probably be the other one. The first one was, this monkey has the might and brain power of the greatest country behind him. A second that is said a second before the rocket like breaks apart and it loses control.
Apart, yeah.
Which I thought was like a nice stab at USA isn't always great.
Yeah, but this is the 90s when USA
That's
was
true.
great.
That is very true.
Yeah.
I mean, it was also the 50s. Kind of.
Well, the 50s, USA was amazing.
That was
exactly.
All right,
yeah,
I take that
You
back.
guys could do no wrong in the 50s.
Ever.
Yeah.
And then the "Don't hurt him, he's just a baby," as he yells it at at least a 20-year-old monkey.
Yeah. Well, he was in suspended animation.
Yeah, but he's still aged. Maybe. I don't know. He didn't eat, so maybe not.
Yeah. He didn't have any food.
That's true. What was the line that you wanted to?
Can you imagine how smelly that uniform would have been when they eventually got
the
him out of there?
worst.
That's 20 years of monkey sweat.
And monkey shit.
I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
He probably had a diaper on, but that's still 20 years, like the same diaper.
Yeah.
It had to do something with quit playing with your monkey and help me. I don't remember what it was. It was something that just, I think something Lois said to Jimmy. And I'm like, oh, I should make a note of that. I should use that as a quote. And then I'm looking now, and IMDb quotes isn't on there, so I have to try and find it somewhere else.
Gonna have to watch it again.
Or just rewatch the episode. Why the fuck not?
Why not? What else do you have to do with your time?
Very little.
So they stop him by playing Ring Around the Rosie on the loudspeaker.
Yeah, and they gas him.
Yeah. And they drop him off on this deserted island.
On Skull Island.
On Skull Island.
Yeah.
The thing that I don't understand is why would they put the one thing that can stop him around his neck.
Yeah, they
At the end of the episode, Bebo is like a necklace on Titano.
Yeah, on giant Titano, which they stopped his growth spurts, by the way. They couldn't shrink if they stopped it.
I wish they didn't. I wanted to see like him just continue growing until
eventually his spine snaps under his own weight.
Well, so what would happen if he kept growing? Would he? Because he's pretty tall for a monkey. I feel like. Would it be the point where the Earth couldn't handle his weight anymore, or would it be at the point where his head is out of atmosphere, where he no longer can breathe?
So we're assuming that as he grows proportionally, like his body can sustain itself.
I assume so.
Okay.
Because he was able to fight Superman pretty well. Like, he didn't, like, break his bones as he tried to stop Superman's punch.
So what's that whole thing about, like, if you take, like, an ant and enlarged it, like, it would actually get crushed in the weight of its own...
Ectoskeleton?
Yeah, something like that, yeah. So we're going to assume that...
It's a proportional growth.
Yeah. How tall would he have to be for his head to be outside the atmosphere?
And would that height garner too much weight for the island to hold him up anymore? At what point will the Earth just cave in on itself off of the weight of a giant monkey?
That's a good point, actually. Yeah, I don't...
We need the science, friends.
Someone help us science this. I'm too lazy to look up anything. I don't know. Get me thinking about this. I feel like if his mass was large enough, it would certainly disrupt... I mean, it wouldn't change our gravity, but it would create a new source of gravity.
Would his weight cause the Earth tilt to change depending on where the island is?
I guess theoretically it could at a certain point. I mean, the Earth doesn't spin on a perfect axis.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if anything that massive, anything growing exponentially like that, I mean, now we're ignoring the fact that mass is finite.
Yeah.
So let's throw that out the window to start with. But let's go with this otherwise completely grounded scientific premise. Yeah, I mean, I guess at a certain point, if the mass continued to grow, it would disrupt the Earth's rotation, I would think. Mm-hmm. But if he was that tall, would he be out of oxygen first?
I mean, it would definitely be hard for him to breathe at a certain point.
Yeah.
And then I imagine he would pass out and just kind of collapse, and then creating massive tidal waves and natural
Kill
disasters.
lots of people.
And probably just destroy the world.
Yeah, exactly. At that point, we just got to get him off the planet. But you don't have anything big enough. We got Superman.
But can he lift him at that point? Like I feel like he was having trouble fighting him at King Kong size.
Kong size. I think we're fucked.
If we triple that,
this may have been the single greatest victory in all of Superman's history.
Yes,
the fact that Emilio Hamilton found a way to stop Titano's growth.
And you know what? It wasn't a victory. It wasn't a victory for Superman. It was a victory for science.
For science.
Yeah.
Yeah. The science.
Yes.
Okay. Shall we move along to bat plugs? Do we have more monkey discussions to be done?
Any more monkey business? I think we're done.
We're definitely done now.
I give you one every podcast. Let me have my one.
No, I'm a huge hypocrite. I refuse.
I am the only one that can do puns on this podcast.
Yeah, it's just me.
Yes. This was the prequel to King Kong, and it's nice to know that's how it all started.
Yep. The nice
Superman.
So I'm going to ask you what you've been watching, but I know at least what one of the answers will be.
Stranger Things?
Yeah.
Yeah.
2.
Yeah. Like the rest of the world, I spent this week watching Stranger Things, and it's pretty good.
I am almost there. I'm only 5 episodes in. Hopefully by the time this comes out on Tuesday, I'll have finished it, but realistically, probably not.
I feel like... sorry. I feel like I wasn't a big advocator for season 1.
I
don't
really
remember how I
it.
was. I remember liking it, but I feel like I don't know if I binged it too fast or if I finished it, because I remember watching it after everyone else.
Okay.
Because it was huge at Comic-Con. I remember that last year.
Wow, so you watched it like really late then?
I watched it after Comic-Con. Yes.
Yeah, because it came out in.
It came out that month. It was the first week of July, first or second week of July last year.
I can't.
I'm pretty sure. I'll look it up while I continue talking.
No, maybe it came out in August.
Was it after?
Because I watched it with a friend of mine that I met at Outfest, and Outfest happens. Oh, I guess Outfest is in June or is it in...
I mean, you worked it this year.
Oh, I worked it.
You worked it real good.
I hate myself. No. Fuck it. It doesn't matter.
July 15th. Yeah,
Okay.
I was right.
Totally inconsequential.
I was right, Chris. It came out right before Comic-Con.
Mark the calendar.
And I remember... Yes, please do.
I'll text you next year on July 15th. Happy anniversary of the time you were right.
I remember when the show came out, I just finished the last Netflix show, The Get Down.
Oh, yeah, because you love
And I
the
was
Get Down.
I tried to push that show on everyone.
Yeah, everyone you were talking to, like, oh my God, have you seen The Get Down? The Get Down's so good.
Because it was.
Yeah.
And no one watched it. I guess enough people did because it got a season 2. Which
not a
I have
season
not
3.
watched.
Yeah.
But I remember, like, I was pushing that. Everyone was pushing Stranger Things. And then Comic-Con happened. And then I'm like, okay, fine, I'll watch it. And I think I just was too late to the party where I didn't get a chance to talk about it with anyone.
Yeah, that makes a difference.
And yeah, through that, I didn't have the same emotional connection. I watched it so fast, I couldn't tell you, like, before this week, I couldn't tell you anyone's name besides 11.
Okay. No, I mean that's fair. Like I watched it with a friend, and we scheduled time to go like watch it together. So it was kind of a mixture of like binging a few episodes at a time and then having to wait a few days in between. So it's like a nice mix.
Yeah. Which I think is necessary for shows like this.
Yeah.
Where you want to talk about it and you need time to digest what you're watching.
Yeah, like I mean, I really do want to finish it soon because I don't want anything spoiled for me. And also, I'm enjoying it. And I want to finish it.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of liking having some time in between.
Yeah,
Just
breathing
a little
room.
bit.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
That's how I did it with this season. Like I still watched it fairly fast, but like
So I don't know if you have a similar experience, but for me, so far, not having finished it, I feel like it's what I wanted from a second season of Stranger Things. Like in the same way that I felt that John Wick 2 was exactly what I wanted from a follow up to John Wick 1, this feels like the exact sort of follow up I wanted to.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. The girl you meet in the first episode, 8.
Oh yeah, and the it's not a spoiler. That's literally the opening scene.
Yeah. I feel like she is in like kind of a weird. I think like that storyline.
Hang on, I haven't caught up with her again yet.
Okay,
So shut your fucking mouth.
she doesn't come back.
Shut your mouth.
I mean, like her role is such a bizarre role. I think she's
Just stop talking. I haven't gotten back. I haven't got to that point yet. There's nothing.
I need to
There's
say
nothing
it, Chris.
you can
You
say
plug your ears then.
that won't be a spoiler. I can't.
Okay.
I'm the one doing. I'm the one listening to the fucking recording.
Okay. Stranger Things 2 was great.
Okay.
The other thing I want to plug, which we're going to go see tomorrow, is Thor Ragnarok.
Because you
And
already got to see it.
I did. I had a very nice friend who gave me an advanced screening ticket, and it is amazing. Everyone, please go watch Thor Ragnarok. It is very high up on my Marvel list. I don't know exactly where it sits yet in the grand scheme of things, but it's great.
Is it better than Thor: The Dark World?
Just by a hair.
Okay. Well, thank God.
It's a hard one to beat. But yes, it is better than Dark World. I would say it's like as close behind as you can get to Guardians. That Guardians 1.
Okay. Oh, that's fair. That's kind of what I was hoping for. Mm-hmm. So, fuck you.
Yeah.
And right on. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to going and seeing it
Yeah, I mean,
tomorrow
we're going
night.
to see it tomorrow, so
Yeah.
calm down.
I know, but I want...
What have you been watching, listening, reading to?
As it's
All
been the
that
case
worked
for,
well.
for many, many weeks now, I really haven't had much time. But I realized that there actually have been things that I've been watching ongoing. I tend to like plug things in at the end. So there's a book I've been reading, which maybe I'll hit next week, because maybe I'll actually be done by then. But I have been watching Star Trek Discovery.
Oh, how's that?
It's weird.
Have you watched Orville yet?
I haven't.
Okay.
I'm actually, if anything, more inclined to watch Orville now, because what I've kind of heard from people is that Orville's actually more of a Star Trek-like show than the Star Trek Discovery itself is.
I've also I'm a few episodes behind in Orville at this point.
Okay, yeah, because so Discovery, like, I think it suffers a little bit from the same problem that Enterprise has, which is doing a show set before the original series, but is being made 40 to 50 years further along in the evolution of our own society. So it's like all the technology in there, you're kind of wondering, like, well, where did this go by the time they got around to the original series? It's all set around a war with the Klingons, so that's what's different about this show, is it's actually set during a time of war, which, if I recall, Deep Space Nine did that a little bit. but otherwise, Star Trek's always been kind of at a time of peace. It's like a full-on conflict. And although they haven't definitively given us an answer as to what timeline it's set in, like the original timeline versus what's called the Kelvin timeline, which is the J.J. Abrams reboot stuff. But regardless of where it's actually set, it's very much grounded in the aesthetic of the new one.
Okay.
So like the Klingons don't look anything like the Klingons from the original series. They look a lot like the Klingons in Star Trek Into Darkness, and they have like these really crazy ornate costumes. It's
You mean the Not Con movie?
yeah, the not con
Yeah.
because you con.
Yep. Con. Are
Actually,
you doing a Moulin Rouge reference?
I actually haven't seen Moulin Rouge, but
How dare you, Christopher? Christopher Tiberius Lloyd.
Lloyd. What?
Yep. I'm outing you on our podcast that Lloyd is not your real last name.
No, this is what I finally.
Chris Lloyd.
This is what I finally acknowledged that I am in fact Christopher Lloyd, famous film star of movies such as Back to the Future, Camp Nowhere, Clue,
Yeah.
Dennis the Menace.
You're great at changing your voice.
Yeah, you would never think it,
Yep.
but or am I?
Did you intentionally leave out Roger Rabbit?
Oh fuck!
Piece of shit.
No, I did not, but I'm glad I did.
Giant piece of shit.
So, what was I saying about Star Trek?
That it's takes place 40, 50 years in the past.
Oh yeah. So it just
technology, Klingons look like the J.J. Abrams Klingons.
It doesn't feel like Star Trek at all. I mean, but I'm kind of enjoying it for what it is, but it doesn't feel like Star Trek. I don't know. I mean, also, I'm paying an extra $10 a month for CBS All Access just to watch it.
You're a better man than I.
Yeah, I know. But I don't know. I'll keep watching and maybe I'll report in once it's done at the end of like the 13. I think it's only a 13 episode season, and give a consensus on it. It got renewed for second season.
Okay, there you go. That's some.
I don't know. It's really weird. Like the Star Trek reboot, I'm a huge fan of, acknowledging it's a lot different than the original series, but at least feels like there's like spiritually it's kind of there. And this is like trying at every level to not be like a Star Trek show, from the characters to the plotting to the structure to the aesthetic. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it.
Okay.
I really want them to do something set on the other end of the timeline, like post like Nemesis, like into the future where we haven't seen yet, because I feel like that's kind of easier than catch up with our own technology. But hey, whatever. Well, maybe someday.
Maybe someday. I'll probably watch it after the first season ends. I'll binge that one.
Yeah, if you can get it somewhere that's not CBS, or I could just give you my login. I suppose.
Yeah, you could do that.
Yeah, because I'm gonna demand your
Christopher Lloyd.
I'm gonna demand your
Christopher Lloyd at gmail.com. Password Back to the Future. Who Framed Roger Rabbit. All one word, lowercase.
.clue.
.clue. Capital C.
Yes.
That's where they get you.
Yeah, because I'm
1, 2, 3 exclamation point. Those damn complicated passwords.
I'm totally going to demand your whatever their DC streaming service is login, because I know you're going to end up getting that.
Yeah. It'll be Christopher Lloyd at gmail.com.
You just use mine. Okay.
Christopher Tiberius Lloyd at gmail.com. No,
Yep.
we'll go at Yahoo. Christopher Tiberius Lloyd at yahoo.com.
I have both. Yeah.
Yeah.
I cover my bases. Gmail, Yahoo, Hotmail.
Yep. AOL no
AOL.
longer exists. As of December, it will no longer exist.
That's true. Yeah. I still have that address, though. I mean, it won't work anymore. Still got it.
I guess, if you have Christopher Lloyd money, you can probably just buy your own domain. So it'd be christopher@lloyd.com.
I know what you meant. I know what you intended there was like you have made the sort of money Christopher Lloyd has made, but I like to think that Christopher Lloyd has his own currency.
Yes.
Which he goes around and uses and is really accepted absolutely nowhere.
Yeah, it's Chris Coin.
Yes. Okay.
To rival Bitcoin.
Any other plugs? Should we wrap up this particularly shambolic episode?
I think I'm ready to wrap it up.
Okay,
I've done my talking for the week.
If you do want to reach out to us, we are at Timm Talk Pod on Instagram and Facebook and Gmail. We got another email. We did.
Was it by another Christopher?
It was not, no, but it was from our good friend Sam Gash.
Hey.
Who wanted to point out to us that the moment when the two Green Lanterns shoot down Guy Gardner is Young Justice, not JLU.
Is it? It is. Oh,
He's
it
deeply
is.
offended, and so he's emailed us as requested, and apparently he's on his way to go watch Hocus Pocus for his own podcast. and I'm now full of all these preconceived notions. This was from a few days ago, October 27th. But Sam, thank you for pointing out that Cameron was wrong.
I am sorry. I get my lines blurred sometimes.
I always appreciate when Cameron's wrong.
But I was right this week.
You're right.
I was right once this week.
You were right twice. Well, not twice. I said because you also had the bit of trivia there.
I know, but you corrected me.
You were right, but I was righter.
Yeah, so I was wrong.
Yeah, that's how that works.
It is how that works.
You can find me personally
At Christopher Lloyd.
at Christopher Lloyd at all of the email addresses.
You can find me at imdb.com/Christopher Lloyd.
Or alternatively at Lordifer on Instagram and Twitter. You go check out my Instagram where there's a photo of me in my snazzy Kingsman tuxedo.
Yeah.
And I imagine there's probably a photo of you in your
My Cam Dameron.
your Cam Dameron suit.
And by the time this podcast comes out, we'll have Dapper Day photos.
That's true, absolutely. I'm actually we're gonna have to actually remember to post them when it actually happened. I never posted the photo of the last time we went to Disneyland where I beat your record. Or not your record, but I beat you.
Yeah, no, let's calm down now. All right.
Sorry, I overstepped my language.
I've made it over 1 million at this point.
How'd you do that?
It was like a 15-minute ride. It kept getting stopped. Talking about the Buzz Lightyear ride.
The Buzz Lightyear ride, yeah. I beat Cameron on the Buzz Lightyear ride, but it's fine. You always beat me. You always beat me on Toy Story Mania. He's give you a stand.
That slow clap. Congratulations.
I deserve that.
You can find me at Cameron.Dexter if you want to see my art, or Cam Dexter _ Adventures, I think. If you want to see photos of me and maybe Chris by the time this comes out.
Yeah. We're at Dapper Day out there. All right.
We're done. We're sorry.
I think we should really...
We'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.
If you still want to listen to us, we'll be back next week. Bye.
The Nerdist School Network. For class and show information, visit nerdistschool.com.